tell us about who is Chris the cat?
Well, Chris the cat is my imagining of what happened to a cat from an old Icelandic folktale, where a commoner brings a cat to the king's castle, and the cat solves the king's rat problem, and he's so grateful. He asks the commoner, well, how can I repay you? Can I grant you land, or would you like to marry my daughter?
Oh, wow.
So the commoner didn't take long to decide that marrying the daughter was the smarter move. And of course, he becomes king later. So I love that tale because it kind of focuses on Scandinavian practicality and just making good choices. And then I thought, well, what happened to the cat?
There you go. There's the writer in you. There's the author. Yeah. There's a lot of fairy tales out there, but I'm in the same team as you, Dr. Ross Hewitt. I'm like, well, there's the side story, right?
And it wasn't, the cat is taken for granted in a way. And so I wanted to explore what could have happened to that cat and came up with a nice little adventure story where Chris actually, in doing his duty of being a Mauser, gets lost in the countryside and discovers lots of things that he had never experienced before, including the love of a little girl and meeting another cat, which is something he really wanted to do.
Now, typically when people are on a show with us, to talk about a movie or blockbuster, we have to be careful not giving away the ending or anything. But in this case, there's more than just the story. Tell us, what's the message? Because this is a gray cat named Chris that meets a cutie pie. It looks like a tortie or an orange and white kitty.
Yes, and her name is Freya. And she's named after one of the Norse gods. But it's about Chris taking risks, discovering new things, being curious, and experiencing a world that he hadn't really known. And all of those things are just good. They're just good for you to do. And that's how you grow as an individual. That's right. So that's really the message of the story is take chances, discover new things, do new things, just like I did in creating this film to begin with. I didn't know how to do that, but I was set myself the task to figure it out.
Well, I know there are heroes or protagonists for the fancy pants people out there that sometimes the character is a dog or, a smart owl or, a lion. But why did you pick a cat? And tell us the bennies of picking a cat. Because I'm telling you this is a good time to be a cat these days.
Cats are, in my experience, incredibly intelligent problem solvers. They assess a situation and then they try different methods as to how to solve that situation. So their curiosity is just amazing. And that has inspired me my whole life.
Really?
As a child, I grew up with 13 cats.
Can you remember at least 4 of their names? I'm not going to make you do 13. Come on.
Okay. But yes, we had Jenny, Sissy, Jeannie, Morty, Patty.
That's good. That's good. I'm keeping it real.
They were all
my meow. Did you have any 2-legged siblings?
I had a sister, and I think my sister ended up being very jealous of those cats because they got to sleep in my parents' king-size bed, and they had to get a king-size bed to fit all the cats on it.
Were these all related cats or just cats that happened to come in and say, this is a cool place to set up camp?
Well, the first 7 were definitely like that. But then my mother didn't get the last two spayed in time. And we learned a lesson about reproduction right in our living room. And then they had a litter of 6, and we kept all 6.
Wow. Now, is this growing up in New York?
Yes, in the Bronx, we lived in a 2-family home, and we lived upstairs. And so the cats had a lot of room. Well, maybe not when you're one of 13, but
Well, cats are all vertical, so they just want to go up high. They don't need horizontal.
but only Sissy was the one who stayed under the bed all the time. She was a little black and white scaredy cat. But the rest of them were very rambunctious, and it was just a wonderful experience to watch a cat mother a litter and guide them, and how sometimes the father would step in, and it was just a lot of fun.
Wow. So, did you ever have a dog?
Never. Never had a dog. I've always enjoyed dogs. I love to pet and play with other people's dogs, but I've never had a dog myself, only cats.
So, I want people to check out the animated film. Tell me, I see 2 different things. Is it 11 or 13 minutes long?
It is 13 and a half minutes
Okay.
long.
All right. And tell us your role, but also could you give a shout out to, I guess you have a producer or a director?
Amy Todoroff is our director. I
Okay.
was both the screenwriter and the producer for the film. And we had a wonderful film and sound editor named Jeannie Travis. Original music was made for the film by a
Nice.
composer named Michael Herron. It's wonderful music. It really is. And then we have the voice talents of 6 wonderful actors based in New York City.
Now, was this being done right as we were climbing out of COVID, or when was this all being produced?
It actually started during COVID because I had
Wonderful.
so much free time. And I thought, well, let's do something to make it useful, a good use of that time. And then in March of 2021, we went into the recording studio wearing masks.
Of course.
And social distancing and doing all of that. And our narrator, she was very lucky to be able to get her own sound booth because the film is narrated. And we followed protocol, and that was the first big step. And then it was all about the animation, which took about a year to complete.
Wow. Now, this isn't your first short film. I understand Tailor Made and Direct Mail. Those are 2 others that you've done?
Well, in those films, I was an actor.
Oh, pardon me.
I was not a producer or
Okay.
a writer, and those were live action short films. For a while there, I was doing some of that for film students in New York, and there's a bunch of film schools here in New York. And I had a really fun time doing that. In Direct Mail, I played a doorman who wins like a jackpot or something. And it was a very funny little film. So that was a lot of fun to do.